Okay, so we are gonna, this is basically the review for the quiz, okay? The quiz is 5, 6, and 5, 8. I'm just going over homework problems from 5, 6, and 5, 8. That's all we're doing for the review. I'm not gonna go, number 1 on the quiz is this kind, number 2 on the quiz is this kind, right? Just anything that we do today is fair game for the quiz. We'll just say that, okay? Which ones do you wanna do? Let's look at 11 to 16 look all kind of the same, doesn't it? Yeah, they look kind of the same. So pick one. I tell you what, let's pick one from up to 15. 11 to 15. We'll definitely do 16 because it's got the minutes and seconds on there. All right, just as a reminder for that. But 11 to 15, I could pick one of those, maybe 2, depending on how many. Right, so we'll do like a regular, I don't know how I'm going to do it. I'll figure it out when I start making up the quiz. But 11, 15, which one do you want to do? Which one? 12? Okay. Good. Somebody's speaking. That's what I like to hear. Usually I'm telling my class to be quiet and shut up. Actually, I don't say shut up, but to be quiet. Now I'm begging you guys to talk to me. All right, B, angle B is 100 degrees. Angle C is 50 degrees. Angle C is 50 degrees. And side C is 30. So that's, I should put an angle symbol here. Just make sure we're not confused. Because like capital A and capital B and little b look different, but a C, they didn't think of us when they came up with a capital C and a little c. So little c is equal to 30. All right. Now you don't have to do this, but if it was me, I would draw a triangle and have these angles like kind of close. Doesn't have to be exact. So that's 90, so 100 would be about like that, wouldn't it? Yeah, and then the other one's 50. All right. So this is definitely our 100-degree angle. So that's angle B. So that means this would be side B. Which one would be the 50? Probably this one up here, so we'll call that the C. We'll call that 50. And then side C is this side right here. They tell us that. That's 30. So here's the things we don't know. We don't know this angle. We'll call this angle A, right? Call that angle A. We'll call this side A. And so we got to find, what I'm going to ask you to do probably is to solve the triangle. Solve the triangle. I don't think they ask you to do that. No, they do. In my Algebra 2 class, they just asked you to solve for one thing because we did this exact type of problem in Algebra 2. But on here, they're asking you to solve the whole entire triangle. That means I got to solve for side A, side B, and angle A. Which one's the super easiest angle to find without doing any trig, any law of anything? What is it? Angle A. Good. And what would angle A be equal to? These numbers are pretty easy. That's 100, that's 50, that's 150. What's this going to be? It's going to be 30 degrees. Agreed? Yeah, so that was easy. So angle A is equal to 30 degrees. If you wanted to show your work, what would you do? You could go 180 minus 100 minus 50, and that gives you 30. All right, that was super easy. Now, let's get into it. This is where it starts. This was, what lesson was this? Law of sines? Yeah. So we're probably thinking law of sines. We can't use law of cosines because we haven't learned it yet. We don't learn it until section 5.8. So we got to stick with the law of sines. Now, if I give it to you on the quiz, I'm not going to say just use the law of sines or just use the law of cosines. You use whatever's at your disposal. So if you wanted to use the law of, if you could, let's say it that way, if you could use the law of cosines in this situation, feel free to use it, even though it's from the sine lesson. Does that make sense? All right, because we've already learned it, but when you were taking this, or when you're doing these problems, you didn't know the law of cosines just yet. So let's stick with the law of sines. Let's see what I'm going to do. Let's solve for A first. Is that all right? So I got an A. I got an angle opposite the A, which is good. And then look at this. I got these two things that are opposite each other that I know. Remember, law of sines has 4 things in it. You have to know 3 of those 4 things. Correct? Yes, Mr. Hammer. That's correct. I'll answer for you. All right, so I know A, what's the angle opposite? It's 30 degrees, so I write what? Sine of 30 degrees. Now look, I got one unknown, so that means I got to know everything else. So I know this, I know that angle right there. I got to know these two things right here. So what I look at my triangle, I'm like, okay, I know side C, I know angle C, so I could put those here. So side C is going to go right here, 30, and then the angle, it's going to be the sine of the angle that's opposite. So, oops. So it's sine of 50. All right, so we've set it up. That's half the battle, setting it up. Actually, solving for A is pretty easy. If I want to get A by itself, I just have to get rid of the sine of 30. So I do that by multiplying both sides by the sine of 30. It's being divided by the sine of 30. How do I get rid of something that's being divided? I multiply. So I multiply that by the sine of 30. So Mercy, did that work for you on there? Okay. All right. And so now this is what got me thinking of it. This is what you put into your calculator. All right. So I'm just going to look at the answers. Is that all right? This is number 12. 19.6. Anybody trying this along with me? Just make sure I'm saying the right thing. So that should be 19.6. Anybody do that? Put sine, or 30 times the sine of 30 degrees divided by the sine of 50. You should get 19.6. Okay, good. So that's what that is. So that's one of my answers. All right. Well, this is another answer right there. And now I got to find B. So let's do the same thing. Let's use the law of sines again to solve for B. So this time I'm going to put B over the sine of the angle that's opposite side B, which is 100, so it's the sine of 100, equals, again, I need to know these two things. All right, so I'm going to use the same thing. I'm going to use side C and angle C. And it's almost identical to what we just did, except for really one number, correct? Just that sine of 100, this was sine of 30, this is sine of 100. Everything else is exactly the same. So I'm going to multiply both sides by the sine of 100. I'm going to put that up here. Just makes it nice and easy. Get rid of it here. So B is equal to 38.6. I think that's right. Double check. You guys should be backing me up here. Did you get 38.6 when you put that in your calculator? It's good practice. Okay, even if you did it already, even if you got it right, it's good practice to do it again just to make sure you're getting that right. So there you go. That was pretty simple, wasn't it? Yeah. Well, it was only the second problem, so it's going to be a little bit easier. I don't know if they get much more difficult, do they? I mean, they have some of they put decimals in there, but did the decimals really make it any more difficult? Not if you have a calculator, it doesn't. So do we need to do 11, 13, 14, 15? I don't think they're much different, are they? They give you two angles and a side. All these, don't they? Give you two angles and a side. Yep. So does this next one, but number 16 is a bit more of a pain. Why is that? Because they give it to you in what? Minutes and seconds. Actually, just minutes. They don't even have seconds in there. So let's write down, this is number 16. I'll probably give you one that's got minutes or minutes and seconds, all right, just to give you a little variety. So this is number 16. So side C, that side C is 19.3. I don't know. I could go seconds. I don't know if I will or not, but I could. But we'll say that. Is that all right? So how do you do the seconds? You just take that seconds divided by 3,600, right? That's the only thing different. So it shouldn't be that much more difficult for you. And then angle A. So this is all the given stuff. Where are we? Angle A is 39 degrees, 15 minutes. 39 degrees, 15 minutes. And angle C is 64:45. 64:45 minutes. Okay, doke. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm not even going to worry about the law of cosines, law of sines, anything. I'm not even going to think about that. All I'm going to do is change this so it's a decimal. This is going to be 39 point something. This is going to be 64 point something. Everybody got me on that? So let's figure out what it's going to be. Let's just do the minutes right now. So it's going to be 15 minutes, right? What do we do with the 15 minutes to change it to degrees? We divide it by what? 60. Isn't that 4? Or 1/4, right? Or 0.25. Did you get that? 15 over 60, 0.25? Yes? No? Abby, did you get that? 15 over 60. You got a calculator right in front of you. 0.25? Okay. So what is that angle A? Let's just write it right here. Angle A is what? 39.25 degrees. So that's the only thing different about having the minutes there. It's really the only thing you have to change. And then everything else is kind of the same as what we just did. Then angle C, what do you got? You got 64, and then 45 degrees is 45 over 60. What's that? Is that 2/3? 15? No, 15 3/4. Yes? No, 3/2. No. What is it? Somebody, come on, you guys aren't helping me out. You should be ready at the 45 over 60. 0.75, 3/4. Is that what I said earlier? Okay. I just need some confirmation, all right? You guys got to be helping me out. Don't just sit there. Help me out. So what's this going to be? So angle C is equal to what? 64.75 degrees. All right, so that's the numbers that we're going to use. Instead of the 15 and the 45, this is what we're going to use right here. So let's draw a triangle. I got one triangle. Again, it does not matter if it's drawn to scale or not. All right, so I'm just going to draw some random triangle and just put stuff in here. Okay, so I don't know. That's probably C right there, 64.75. 39, and I don't know. Let's say it's this one, 39.25. Again, it does not have to be drawn to scale. That'd be angle A. This would be angle B. This would be side B. This would be side A, and this would be side C. Well, they tell you side C, which is 19.3. I think it's very important to draw the triangle. I wouldn't try this without drawing the triangle just because I'd get too confused. I might be able to do it. All right, I might be able to think about what's opposite what and all that kind of stuff. But man, it's just, to me, it's just peace of mind seeing that triangle right there. So again, just like on the other one, angle B would be the easiest thing to find. So, well, I gotta look, 16. 76 degrees, is that what you got? Did you get exactly 76? Nobody's helping me out. Why is nobody helping me? 64 point, I'll just do it myself. Minus 39.25, 76, yep, that's right, 76 degrees. So that's what this angle is right there. All right, so that was easy. That was one of the things you had to solve for on the triangle. Let's solve for A. I'm going to go through fast because it's almost identical to the problem we just finished doing. In fact, all of these right here are pretty much identical. So it's A over the sine of 39.25 equals, this one, the C's again are the ones that we know. So I'm going to put 19.3 over the sine of 64.75 degrees. Solve for A, so we multiply both sides by the sine of 39.25. And now you just chug that in your calculator, plug it in your calculator, work it out, and number 16A is 13.5 is what the answer key has. If you got something different, let me know. All right, then we solve for B. Let's do the same thing. So B over the sine of 76 equals, let's put the C's in here again since I know those. So put 19.3 over 64.75. Multiply both sides by the sine of 76. All right, and then B is equal to, put in a calculator, and you should get 20.7. That's what I'm looking at, 20.7. And there you go, you solved the triangle. They gave you three things. There's three sides, three angles, so there's the one angle that's missing, there's the two sides that are missing. Boom, you solved the triangle. Super easy. Yes? All right, what about 19 to 24? It says find the area of each triangle. So we're still doing signs. It's not really the law of signs, but we're still doing a sign thing here. Do you remember how to find the area of a triangle? There's actually three ways. You could go base times height. You could go base times height divided by 2, right? That's the old-fashioned way of doing it. But the thing is, you knew the height then. On this situation right here, you don't know the height. So you need another way. And remember what it was? 1/2. There's three ways you could write this. I'm going to write it like this. BC times the sine of A. You could have written it 1/2 AB times the sine of C, or you could have written it 1/2 AC times the sine of, what did I say? ACB. Yeah. So 1/2, now my mind. What did I say, 1/2 AB? No, that was the second one. 1/2 AC times the sine of B. Yes? I'm still on 5/6. I didn't? Well, I should have. Here it is. I'm teaching to you now. All right? Because you need to know this. All right? So here it is. It's super easy. I promise you. Okay? Don't get freaked out over it. There's your formula. Because I asked when I was doing this, I said, did we do that one equation? Everybody's like, yeah. But we went over it, but I didn't assign it.
No, you never went over it.
All right, here it is. I'm going over it. All right. It's 1/2 BC sine of A. So if you had a triangle, everybody look. If you had a triangle, I'll just draw a triangle. Doesn't matter what. A non-right triangle. Okay, we'll say that. Okay, it's a non-right triangle. And this was angle A, this was B, and this was C. This would be side A, this would be side C, this would be side B. So if you had a situation like this, and you did not know the height of the triangle, everybody watching? Let's say you didn't know the height of the triangle, but you knew a couple things. So this is where we're going to put the numbers in. Let's just do number 19, that's the first one. So they say that angle A equals 28 degrees. Side B is 14. And then side C is 9. This is super easy. Everybody can get this. All right? You just have to memorize this. That's the only thing. Okay? So just memorize 1/2 BC sine of A. So what are we going to do? We're going to put that stuff in here. Angle A is 28 degrees. So that goes right here. B is 14, so that side right there is 14. C is 9, so that goes right there. So without knowing the height, we can find the area of this triangle, right? Now, if you wanted to, you could put a height here, and then you could find this. You could take, actually, you'd probably put the height here. Anyway, there's an explanation to it. It boils down to this, all right? We'll just say that since we didn't go through the whole routine. So let's plug it in. Let's find the area. So area equals 1/2 BC. So it's what? 14 times 9 times the sine of the angle that's between those two sides, which is angle A. So it's 28 degrees. And there it is. You just plug it in your calculator, and you got the area of that triangle. It's as easy as that. It's really that easy. So that's fair to put it on the quiz, don't you think? At least one of those? Yeah. You just got to memorize this, okay? Remember, look, this right here are two sides of the triangle. The angle that you're taking the sine of is always the one that's in between these two sides, okay? So it's the one that's missing, right? So you don't have an A in here, so that means this is going to be the sine of angle A. We got that? Yeah, it's pretty easy. I actually taught this to my honors geometry class, and maybe I was thinking that I already taught that to you because I remember teaching it at some point. But yeah, I do now remember kind of skipping that. I don't know why. Maybe it was because of time or something. All right, and that's pretty much good for that. Yeah, I'm looking at problems like this one. They give you two sides and an angle. Sometimes they give you two angles and a side. Let's do that one. Find the area. Let's just write down what they give us. So the next problem is number 20. So let's write that down. So A is 5. Angle B is 37 degrees. Angle C is 84. Yes.
Are you free at 12:30 to take the class pictures tomorrow?
Yes.
That
12:30.
12:30.
Okay. Does everybody know?
They're gonna send an email out tonight.
An email?
And we had
Do a group text. Everybody's on a group text, right?
Yeah,
We're
well,
doing
it's gonna be.
Okay. I was gonna say because people don't check emails.
Yeah.
You guys don't
It'll
anyway.
be one out to the parents and then one out.
So 12:30 tomorrow
12:30 to 1.
is it's just regular. It's not chapel schedule, right?
No.
Even though we're having a chapel. Okay.
Wait.
12:30. 12:30. That's
We
geometry
did the parade
class.
at
That's
1,
fine.
So that's why they decided.
Oh, so you're doing the picture before the parade?
Yeah.
Okay, I gotcha. Okay, I'll put it down. We'll do it then. Just have everybody meet at the big playground, not the fenced-in one where the little kids. You know what I mean? The one that's closer to the football field, and we'll do it there. And everybody's got to be in uniform. Do you have to be in uniform for your thing anyway, right? For the chapel?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So everybody should be in uniform. Just make sure you tell them that. Okay, good. Thanks. All right, so let me put it in my calendar. Senior photo. 12:30. 12:30. All right, good. Got that out of the way. All right, where were we? Angle C. What number am I doing? 84 degrees. Number 20. This is number 20, by the way. Okay. All right, well, let's draw a triangle. 84 degrees. So that's pretty steep, isn't it? Actually, let's do this. Again, it doesn't have to be to scale, but, you know, the closer you make it, the better, I guess. And that's... So we'll say this one is the 84 degrees. We'll say this one is 37 degrees. So this would be angle C. This would be angle B. This would be angle A, which we don't know. Side A is across from angle A, so the A is 5. This side is B, and this side is C. So we're trying to find all that. We're just trying to find the area, right? That's all we're doing? Yep. Find the area. Let me see where it is. Okay, there it is. All right. Can we use that thing? By the way, what could we find? There's a little problem, though, with this, isn't there? The area is what? 1/2 BC sine of A, correct? But we only know one side, don't we? We need two sides right here. So we might have to do something to find one of the other sides before we can find the area. Would you agree? Yes? Okay, so let's do this. Let's find this angle right here first. Okay, I don't even know why we'd need to. I mean, I kind of do, but I'm thinking the way you're thinking. You probably think, well, why do I need that? Well, it's so easy to find. Let's just find it, right? So let's get my little calculator out here. Come on. So how do we find that? 180 minus 84 minus 37, and that's 59. So this is 59 degrees up here. Okay. So how could we find either B or C? Let's find angle B. Or not B, angle B, but side B. Let's find that. We just did it, right? We did it twice already. So let's do it again. So it's B over the sine of 37 degrees equals, now which two do we know? We know the A's now, don't we? So I'm going to put 5 over the sine of 59. So let's do this, solve for B. So we multiply both sides by the sine of 37. That cancels out. So B is, let's put that in the calculator, 37 sine times 5 equals divided by the sine of 59. Sine of 59, and that equals 3.5. Is that what you got? Anybody playing along? You got 3.7? Did you? Somebody else do it. Did you do it? Abby, do it? Somebody do it. Just make sure 5 sine of 37 divided by sine of 59. Everybody should get the same exact thing. I might have done it wrong. Let me try it again. 5. You got 3.5? Okay, I won't do it again. All right, so 3.5 for B. Now this one is going to be a little trickier. I guess if you wanted to, you could find C, couldn't you? I was going to do a little bit of math. Since you know one of them, since you know B, you could do a little math. Well, no, you couldn't. You'd need to find the C. Yeah, so let's do it again and find C, all right? So here we go. You should be good at this law of sine at this point, right? C over the sine of 84, and that's equal to, use the A again, 5 over the sine of 59, multiplied by the sine of 84. That's a 9. Okay, that cancels, so that should give you C. So 5 times the sine of 84, so 84 sine times 5 equals that, divided by sine of 59 equals 5.8 I got. Did you get 5.8 for C? Nobody? You're not playing along? So that's 5.8. So now we should be able to find the area of this thing, right? We got everything. We got all the sides. We got all the angles. So you should be able to find it. So it's 1/2 BC sine of A. So again, it doesn't matter that you actually pick the B and the C. All right, you could pick any two sides as long as this angle is the one that's between the two sides that you pick. All right, it doesn't matter. You could try a couple of them. If we had time, we would, but we just don't. So let's just use the letters that we have now. 1/2 B, so B is 3.5. C is 5.8. And the sine of angle A, the sine of 59. So plug all that into your calculator. So 1/2 times 3.5 times 5.8 times the sine of 59 equals, I got 8.7. Did you get 8.7? I hope you did. Unless I did something wrong. Yep, that's what the book says. 8.7. How about that? And its area, they don't give you units, but we'll just say it's units squared. And there you go. So that one wasn't quite as easy as this one, because everything right here was given to you on a silver platter, right? You just had to plug it in, no biggie. But on this one, you're going to have to find the other sides, and you do that by using the law of sines. That's why they put that formula into the law of sines lesson. All right, enough of that. Let's go to law of cosines. Everybody ready for that? All right, so section 5.8.
Could you go over number 16?
On 5.8?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just my calculator wasn't working.
All right, let's do that one first. Number 16, this is section 5.8 this time, so I'll write that down. Section 5.8. All right. C is 70, angle C is 79.3 degrees. Bless you. And then A is 21.5, side A. And side B is 13. B is 13. Again, as far as the scale of the triangle, it doesn't really make any difference. Let's just make it look like this. We'll say this is the 79.3 right there. That's angle C. So this is side C, so this has to be A and B. So this one looks a little longer, so I'll call that 21.5, 13. All right, see how easy it is to draw the triangle once they give you all the stuff? All right. Doesn't have to be perfect. You just got to have a triangle to put the numbers in so you know what's going on. So now we're going to use law of cosines on this, okay? Because we couldn't use the law of sines, could we? Because we'd have to know one angle and one opposite side, and you don't. So law of cosines is what we're going to do here. So it's going to be c squared equals a squared plus b squared. So it's going to be 13 squared plus 21.5 squared minus 2ab again. So use those same two numbers, but you're multiplying them this time. 13 times 21.5 times the cosine of the angle that's opposite side C, which is the only one they give us anyway, which is 79.3 degrees. All right? So you got to put that in your calculator. This is the hardest out of all of them to do in your calculator. Okay? So you got to make sure you keep things straight. First of all, depends what calculator you're using. If you're using just a calculator with one, I don't know what you call it, just one line across the top, you would do it one way, and then if you're using graphic calculator, you would do it another way. So let's just do the graphing. You're using graphing, right? All right, so let's do that. Let's make sure, though, you do what? Change it to degrees. Right there.
When will we learn the radians? Because I remember that was a question on the SAT.
Yeah, well, we learned it in Algebra 2. Yeah, well, I don't know if you did, but in my class, I taught it the other day in Algebra 2, but you guys didn't quite get there yet, I don't think. I think, is it even in this chapter? I think it's not till another chapter. I thought they would have given it to you now. We didn't do radians at all? Did we?
That YouTube video we just watched, but it was like very
Right.
intro.
But I didn't teach it myself, though. Yeah, it doesn't look like it's until maybe another chapter. So obviously we're not going to get to it, but watch my Algebra 2 videos. The last couple of them, you can watch those. You can learn about radians, okay? All right, and there's actually a video that I put up. Well, I didn't put it up, but I just recorded it on the screenshot, you know, when I recorded the video. And it's a real good video on radians, if you want to learn it. But none of the stuff that we're doing has radians in it, so you don't have to worry about it. But yeah, it's definitely something we should have talked about in a pre-calc class. But let's do this. So what are we going to do? Get rid of that squared. So we're going to take square root of this whole thing. So that's the first thing I'm going to do. I'm going to hit square root. Now remember the parentheses? That's the key to this. All right? So they already give you the parentheses. They already give you that parentheses right there, don't they? See that? See right there? All right, so you already got that one. But what you want to do, so the yellow parentheses is the one right there on the graph, on the calculator. But you need to put another parentheses to group those together. Okay? So you already got the yellow one. It's flashing, right? Or it's right before the flashing thing, right there. And then you put one set of parentheses here. Then you do the stuff in the parentheses. Then you put a minus. Then you put another parentheses here and here. Okay? Everybody with me on that? And then, I believe, yep, that'll do that. And then I believe you just need one more parentheses right there. So that's what we're doing. All right, you ready? So you got a square root, you got your first parentheses, let's put another parentheses in for that first red one right there. So this parentheses is going to group 13 squared plus 21.5 squared. So let's do that. So 13 squared plus 21.5 squared. Close that parentheses, right? Then you put a minus, open up another parentheses. You understand why? Because you're grouping all this stuff and you're grouping all this stuff. And then the yellow parentheses is everything under the square root, okay? So what do we got now? 2 times 13 times 21.5. And then on this calculator, you can just hit cosine, 79.3. 79.3. Oops. see this when after the cosine, they give a parentheses there, right? So we're going to have to close out that one, all right? So we close out after the 79.3. Then we need another one. Why? To close out the red stuff. And then we need another one to close out everything under the square root. Okay? But that makes sense, though, doesn't it, with the parentheses in here? Then hopefully, cross our fingers. Is that the answer?
Yeah, that's
Good. What are we doing? Which number was that? 16. So what did I say? 20. Yeah, 23.0. But it rounded to the nearest tenth. That 6 rounds the 9 up to a 10. Well, that 1 goes in front of the 2, or it goes on top of that 2, so that's a 3. So 23.0. All right. You got to practice that, though. All right. So C equals that. Make sense? All right. So that's what this is right there. That's 23.0. Now, you could find the other angles. This would be angle B, and this would be angle A. Let's see. You could find the other angles by using law of sines, couldn't you?
right.
Yeah, so if you want to go back to using the law of sines, you can, and that's what I would do. You could use the law of cosines again, but I think it would be a little bit more confusing. You could still do it. It's fine, right? So let's say let's do it both ways. We got time? 5 minutes? Is there anything else on this that we have to do besides that? The area of the triangle. Did we do the area of triangle? We did that semi-perimeter thing? Heron's formula?
Yeah,
We did that, didn't we?
that was the thing that you rushed yesterday.
Okay. But I still finished it though, right? Yeah. So you just watch it again, slow it down if you need to, pause it. Yeah. So I did it yesterday. So I'm not going to go over that today, but know how to do that because that could be on the quiz. It will be on the quiz. All right. Find the area when they give all 3 sides. If they give you all 3 sides of a triangle, any triangle, you can find the area using that Heron's, or what do they use? Hero? Did I say hero or Heron? One book says hero, one book says Heron. It's the same dude, all right, that made it. He lived about 1,000 years before Christ.
The quiz is going to be 10 questions.
It'll be 10 questions, yeah, definitely 10 questions. All right. So I don't know. What do you want to do? You want to do law of sines again? We did a lot of law of sines. This is the only law of cosines we did, so let's do that to solve for A, just for fun. Okay.
We'll also do sine because my calculator wasn't working for when I did sine.
Okay. Well, you could do it. Just put sine of A over 21.5. Here, let's just do that. Sine of A over 21.5. Because since we're solving for A, I'm going to put the sine of A on top. On the other ones, we put the little a, the side on top. And then what do we know? We need to know both things. That would be this one right here. So I'm going to go the sine of what? 79.3 over, we just found it, so that's 23. I just write 23. Agreed? Multiply by 21.5. And then, how do I get A by itself? Take the inverse sine. Right, so you're going to take the inverse sine of all of this mess right there.
And I got an error in my calculator. I did that.
You did?
Yeah. Well, I put in like 3.
All right, let me, I don't have time to try it myself. Yeah, I think I might know why. Let's just do it by the law of cosines now. We'll see if it works, okay? So let's do this with law of cosines. So what's my C gonna be? It's not really a C here, it's an A, but I'm gonna put 21.5 squared equals the other 2 sides, so 13 squared plus 23 squared minus 2 times 13 times 23 times the cosine of A. Now watch, this looks like it would be really complicated, but the math isn't near as bad. Did we do this? Seems like we just did this yesterday. Did we do this yesterday? Solving for A out here? I don't know. I'm doing this in both classes, so I can't remember which one I did. But here's what we're going to do. Everybody watching? I want to get a by itself, don't I? So I have to get rid of this and this first. So how do I get rid of something that's being added? I subtract. So I go 21.5 squared minus 13 squared. Everybody see that? So I just got rid of that. How do I get rid of this? Minus 23 squared. Get rid of that. Now I have to get rid of these three things. What are they all doing? They're multiplying. How do I get rid of something that's being multiplied? Divide. So I divide both sides by -2, 13, and 23. Agreed? Let me just push this over a little bit. What's all this equal to? So that canceled, that canceled, that canceled. What's all that equal to? The cosine of A. But how do I get rid of the cosine? I just take the inverse cosine. So this is what we're putting into a calculator. So this should give you the answer for angle A. 66.9 degrees is what I see. That's the same problem, right? Yep. So what would you do? Well, I'm not going to do it on the graphing calculator just because
Although it was equal
it
to
takes 2
70, so
time.
I know.
On this one right here?
Yeah.
Okay. But you still got an error on the other one? By doing it by the law of sines?
But it's supposed to be 2 parentheses and I only did 1.
You're talking about this one?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. So this did work.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So you should get the same answer. Did you get the same answer?
66.7.
Yeah, 66.9 is what they have for angle A. Yeah, I mean, it's close enough. It should be exactly the same, though, if you rounded it right and if you put all the numbers in. Unless, I don't know, did you actually put 21.5 squared? You didn't, like, simplify it first and then divide. Did you put everything in the calculator all at once?
I put it.
Let me just try it real quick.
And then 79.3 and then 23. That's my like simplified.
Okay, so 21.5.
Are you collecting the homeworks?
No, just hang on to it. You can use it to study from, but I will collect it when we take the quiz. Okay, so I'll collect it when we take the quiz. So let me do this times sine of 79.3 equals divided by 23 equals second function sine. Oh yeah, I did get 7. Yeah, I got 7, 66.7. So that's fine. It's probably because we used rounded numbers, right? And depending on how you do it and what you solve for first and what you solve for second, and you know, if you use a rounded number, if you don't use a rounded number, that's a reason why it could be off just a very small amount. And 0.2 is a very small amount. Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. Okay. All right, that's it.